This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Good morning. Welcome back to the show. You guys can follow me on Twitter at @BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here today. We are going to talk about SWIFT. We are going to talk about ISO. We are going to talk about ACI and $14 trillion daily transactions and linking up with Mastercard, and a few other things that are important before we get out of here. One thing that's really important is we want to do the numbers. The numbers this morning are brought to you by I Trust Capital. Guys, if you're looking for a crypto IRA, you're not going to find a better one than I Trust Capital. They also offer gold, and they will be offering something new not too terribly long from now, and I can't talk about it right this second, but make sure you check all the links in the description box in the comment section for trusted links to products that you may need. So let's do this. Numbers are Bitcoin this morning, $10,865.36. Ethereum is $366.73, and XRP is 24 cents. 0.2434 this morning. The market cap is $10.9 billion. The 24-hour is up 1.4%. The 24 volume is 1.3 billion plus, and the total circulating supply is now sitting at 45,136 million plus. That came up recently about 39 million, I believe it was. Shout out to Hiding Out Now for that. Now, first piece of news, we go to Grayscale. You know your 1, 2, 3s, but you're ready to learn about your XRPs. XRP, easy as 1, 2, 3. You can't help but sing it. With Grayscale XRP Trust, you could give exposure to this asset through a traditional investment vehicle. Go Grayscale. Yeah, shout out to Barry Silbert and the team. XRP Investment Fund. Come on in. That's exciting stuff. You know the market is starting to take on, in my eyes, that whole traditional feel, but with all the beautiful elements of the innovation and tech of cryptocurrency and blockchain, where you're going to have the access 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365. You know the deal. All right, so moving to the next piece. So yesterday I covered this, which I covered before when I first received it from, I believe it was Michael Val 5 links a couple months ago, and we covered this document, the GFIT V2 Early Adopter Program Draft Timeline from SWIFT, which doesn't show October, which we are now in, which is interesting, and then shows a go live moment for the Early Adopter Program in November, December here going forward. Now, in full disclosure, shout out to I Am Legion. He says, I believe those PDFs are from before the delay announcement from SWIFT, and then post the article about the delay. He's correct on that. The only thing that's interesting about this is that, I think these windows of time are something we want to keep an eye on. And he's right. That article to delay came out after this PDF, and they may delay, but I still think it's a window you should look at and have on your calendar. Does it mean anything's going to happen? No. And we never try to put a flag on the moon. We just show the information because everybody's under NDA. So I don't know what's actually real, what isn't. It's just our job to know as much as we can. So there was a delay that came out after that, but moving forward, because the plot thickens, and shout out to I Am Legion. I really appreciate him bringing that up. And Michael Val 5 Link shares this morning. This is exactly why we got to just pay attention to everything. This came out this morning from Finextra. Michael Val 5 Link shares, interbank messaging network SWIFT is to move into low-value remittance market, providing member banks with the means to make instantaneous transactions across borders for small and medium-sized companies and consumers. Let's drill down on this, a very short article. SWIFT to move into low-value consumer payments market. Interbank messaging network SWIFT is to move into low-value remittance market, providing member banks with the means to make instantaneous transactions across borders for small and medium-sized companies and consumers. The banking cooperative is working with over 20 banks to develop the service, which builds on the strength of SWIFT GPI and the high-speed rails that have already transformed the business of high-value payments. The initiative will enable consumers and SMEs to benefit from the predictable payments with cost and processing times known up front, which is falling in line with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau about, for the first time, having that rule be effective, that SWIFT GPI and Ripple and XRP are the two solutions cited for being able to provide that clarity before the actual message is sent or accepted by the sender and receiver. So, very interesting here. David Watson, Chief Strategy Officer at SWIFT, says the success of SWIFT GPI, which is used by thousands of banks and carries billions of payments globally, enables ever faster transaction processing times and transparency, and now it provides us with the opportunity to transform the experience in the SME and consumer payments market. Last week, the first payment through the new service were successfully exchanged between banks who are helping develop, including Bank of China, Barclays, BNP Paribas, and Barclays, BNP Paribas are also working with Ripple, and so is BNY Mellon and Deutsche Bank and many others in this list. So moving on here, in addition, 7 banks will participate in a pilot phase starting at the end of October. Interestingly enough, Banca Intesa and BBVA and DNB and HSBC and some other Society General Standard Chartered, which we know some of these are always have been affiliated with Ripple and RippleNet. The service is expected to be available for all GBI financial institutions by 2021. So it's like, what do we do? I think the important thing is to be aware of all of this information, the information that was scheduled to look like they are still on this timeline for at least some of their objectives and goals, right? And to be aware of the fact that the pandemic did slow SWIFT, as they said, but maybe a portion of this looks to be like it's still on course. I think the funny thing that I find is that even though SWIFT said that they were delaying, the rest of the world has said that because of the pandemic, things of this nature have been accelerated. Everybody has said everything has been accelerated except for SWIFT. So you have to wonder, because now SWIFT is actually now coming back and saying that they're ready to launch here at the end of October. So I don't know. But anyway, shout out to I Am Legion. I appreciate him sharing the information. I think it's best that we all get as much information as possible. And don't forget, that the world is converging on a new global standard, ISO 2022, the de facto global standard for modern payments, to help in the next step of global interoperability and meet the evolving needs for our customers. And in doing so, Ripple is now a part of the ISO 2022 standards body, the first member focused on distributed ledger technology, which I think is going to help make all of this possible. Because as Brad Garlinghouse has said, it's like a race car body over an old car with the GPI system. So I don't know how they get instantaneous payments and settlement. I mean, they can have instantaneous payments, but I don't know how they get instantaneous settlement on that payment, to be honest with you, unless they're using something like Ripple or RippleNet, or the XRP ledger. So we'll have to see. The plot thickens, but keep an eye on it. Now, moving to this is extremely big too. Shout out to Steve Gulbranson. And you know what? Shout out to Michael Val 5 Links, Jesus Trujero, Bond Crypt, and XRP Crypto Wolf, and everybody else who sends information. You guys are just remarkable. I Am Legion. I appreciate you guys so much. So look at this news. This is not small potatoes here. So Ripple's strong partner executing $14 trillion in daily transactions. What? Did you say daily? Executing $14 trillion in daily transactions links up with Mastercard. Here, I'm going to start back down here because, let me correct, it's not very long. One of Ripple Labs' strongest partners, ACI worldwide, with over 14 trillion daily transactions in payments and security services, is partnering with Mastercard. 2 financial institutions will start collaborating to give central banks a rare industry-leading technology and expertise purposely to expedite real-time payments network across the globe. Now, that's quite a statement right there. And, we know that MasterCard has started test piloting CBDCs as well. So pretty interesting stuff as that goes. With the amalgamation of ACI's payments access and real-time messaging transformation technology coupled with MasterCard's central infrastructure, the two are set to offer an unmatched end-to-end service that includes but not limited to the flexible deployment options of the ISO 2022 first approach. Wow! The same global de facto standard that the Ripple has been brought in for the DLT. Interesting. Okay. Keep it going. With tentacles in the U.S. and beyond, ACI says it supports 18 real-time domestic schemes worldwide and nothing less than 50% of UK's faster payments. I just want to highlight here, 18 real-time domestic schemes, so different platforms that they're able to be connected to. So if Ripple's partner with ACI, they're also connected and able to plug in and help settle for those 18 domestic schemes worldwide. That's pretty remarkable. 50% of UK's faster payments, 75% of Hungary's GIRO transactions, and services through ACI's UP Immediate Payments. The UP Immediate Payment is being regarded as a major solution for Malaysia's real-time payment platform, and at the same time, STET's real-time platform for PSPs across Europe, with over 6,000 organizations worldwide. Wow, that is massive. ACI performs $14 trillion in payment securities daily. The firm partnered with Ripple in 2019. ACI makes it easy for banks and globally to deploy SWIFT-Fin, GPI, Ripple, Wire, and immediate payments in a separate development. ACI is responsible for upgrading the State of Bank of India's payment switching system in India. SBI is said to be the largest public bank. ACI already upped SBI's ATM and POS network infrastructure. ACI already upped SBI's ATM and POS network infrastructure. The payment solution says it is helping SBI to upgrade its infrastructure using real-time payment solutions. The bank's ATM will now make use of Visa, MasterCard, and RuPay. Meanwhile, Ripple's chain of partners continues to increase. Already, the blockchain enterprise firm has hundreds of partners making use of its payment solutions. Some of its partners, like MoneyGram, are already dependent on Ripple's infrastructure on-demand liquidity, which abolishes putting funds in Nostro for cross-border payments. There it is, bring it home moment right there. It's the ability to release the dormant capital in these Nostro, Vostro accounts for these companies and entities, whether they're SMEs or whether they're financial institutions or just straight up banks. So very exciting stuff here. Now, changing gears a little bit, we get this narrative that has really come on strong, and it's a very positive narrative, I believe, too. It's clear crypto belongs in the future of global financial systems, but for future depends on us taking action now to ensure this tech can be used sustainably. Today, Ripple is committing to be carbon neutral by 2030 and building tools so any blockchain can use renewable energy. That to me is exciting. And I don't mind telling you, along with the notion that banks and payment providers and financial institutions and remittance companies, you know the drill, can all save money around the world by updating and going to this new tech and this new digital asset for settlement. I think the other thing that's interesting to me here is this. You're also going green. You're also making the environment better. Who wouldn't want that, right? So I think this becomes a heavy narrative, just like the cost savings and the efficiency and scalability as anything else. So I'm excited about this becoming a real feature point about Ripple and XRP and the ledger. Okay. Now, it's not the only place we see it, because we also see it here thanks to James Rule XRP. And XRP Ledger Foundation, Ripple, and Energy Web announced world's first decarbonized blockchain by 2030, they said. But the reality here is that we have the XRP Ledger Foundation recently launched here to oversee a lot of these things, whether it's the carbon-free footprint and moving to a decarbonized blockchain. All of this effort to decouple Ripple, the blockchain infrastructure company, from the XRP Ledger Foundation, I think is just a natural growth point. It is really a real inflection point, I think, for the company Ripple, and it's an inflection point for Ripple Ledger as a independent nonprofit foundation now going off to to live on its own kind of and grow, fly and be free from the nest, right? So it's a beautiful thing. And again, we saw it here. Shout out to XRP Crypto Wealth and James Rule XRP. The Ripple partner XRP Ledger Foundation to save our planet's environment. And I don't think that it's a small statement here, what we're talking about. The goal to be carbon net zero within 10 years. And you're talking about an XRP ledger, a universal highway for the payment systems of the world to be carbon net zero within the next 10 years. That to me is a pretty remarkable upside to what we're talking about moving to here with the system. So, okay, now switching gears just a little bit, because I wanted to bring up this. JP Morgan Chase has admitted to fraud charges for illegal trading and agreed to settle with the U.S. Department of Justice, the CFTC, and the SEC. JP Morgan Chase agreed to pay nearly $1 billion in penalties and victim compensation. Wow. Well, one of the things I wanted to say is not only is it cool that the XRP ledger can be net zero carbon footprint within 10 years is the goal, but it's also cool to say that if they were doing this on the ledger, I think they'd get caught a lot sooner. Yep. That's one of the things to remember about the benefits of moving to a new digital system and new financial payment rails is that if you're going to be doing corruption and things that are corrupt, you will get caught, and you will probably get caught a lot sooner, and it won't take going to $1 billion to get caught. I think you'll get caught a lot sooner than that. That's something that excites me because, the JP Morgan has gotten their hand in the cookie jar far too many times for it to be just an accident. It happens a lot. Anybody remember the silver manipulation that went on? Enough said. Anyway, moving on to the next piece, I just want to show and stress the importance here of what we're talking about. Excuse me, when we talk about ACI, when we talk about the connection they have there with $14 trillion settlement daily, and that they are partnered with Ripple, and they are connected to many, many different payment schemes out here around the world. When we talk about the SWIFT news and the document and then the delayed announcement, and now again today, there's an article of SWIFT saying they'll be ready by the end of October to pursue some of this. So I think what's interesting to remind ourselves is this is so big that now we actually have congressmen actually calling for a call to action, an absolute call to action for a cryptocurrency payment rail as a part of our payment system reforms. Very short. Listen here.
Advancing, and we need a cryptocurrency payment rail as a part of our payment system reforms. And I thank my friend, the chairman, and I yield back.
And there you go right there. It doesn't get any simpler than that. That is happening right there in Congress. Task Force on Financial Technology. We know that they had about 3 bills tucked in one that recently passed the House. That goes to the Senate. And I'll remind everybody and leave you with this. If you want to know how Congress works, you get it right here in 7 seconds. Let's have it.
Speaker Boehner is saying about how Congress works, which is, to sum up, very slowly until it's very fast.
And that's all you need to know right there. And with all the motion that we're seeing out here today, I would say the best thing to do is to take all this information in and have a head on a swivel. Really, really pay attention to everything. Things are moving really pretty fast at this point for me. And I want to just kind of keep a note on a calendar for whatever may happen or not. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you to everybody who provides information and shares it. We will see you on the next one. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, share with somebody you know. I'll catch all of you on the next one.